Hello, good morning. I'm Melissa, and today we are going thrifting, so come along thrifting with me. But first, I just want to quickly go over what my wish list is going to be. So, a couple of things that I've been looking for a long time are a black miniskirt, a really nice pair of vintage denim overalls, a gold heart locket, preferably vintage, and some little dainty gold hoop earrings would be nice. And maybe some random homewares. I kind of just have to see what's speaking to me, but yeah, it would be nice to find some decor too, so let's get looking.
The highly important first stop was Thrift Fuel, and then I went straight to Value Village to scour the shelves for vintage treasures like a surly thrift dragon. I started out at the jewelry case, but nothing was really calling to me. This fake Vivienne Westwood necklace was interesting, but that was about it. Then I went into the vests, which is one of my new obsessions, and I found this suede style kind of corset vest situation, but I couldn't tell if it was vintage or if it was fast fashion since it didn't have a tag. I also found this cool crocheted sweater, which was really beautiful with floral embellishments. Then I went into the motherland, aka the dress section, but it was very overwhelming today and the aisle was super crowded and kind of messy. But I persevered, though I have to say that the dresses were not really hitting today, as hard as usual at least, which is fine because I really don't need more dresses anyway. At least that's what I tell myself. I did find this purple velvet maxi dress with a matching button up top, but I didn't love the flower graphics painted on it. This wild fuchsia fringe dress from the 80s had such an interesting texture, and I was kind of entranced by it, even though it isn't really my style. It's giving 80s Western Barbie grandma chic in the best way. I kept searching for more interesting vintage dresses, but I was kind of striking out, so I transitioned into the skirts, where I found this fun abstract kind of floral midi skirt, also from the late 80s, I believe. I really loved the color palette on this one. I also found this cute red floral midi skirt, but I've realized that I much prefer maxi to midi lengths on myself personally, so I'm trying to be more mindful of only buying skirts that I know I will really wear. I quickly popped into the cardigan section where I found this cropped velvet cardigan, which was super cute, so I grabbed it to try on. And then I found this adorable powder blue vintage cardigan with pearl buttons, which was really soft, so I also added it to my cart. The home goods were really calling my name today, probably because of the pretty shiny things that bring out my inner thrift dragon hoarder tendencies, so I had to look at all the little bowls and vessels. There's just something about them that I really, really love. Like, do I need 8 crystal candy dishes? No. Do I want them all desperately? Yes I do. But practically speaking, I realized that having a little tray or dish to organize my bits and bobs in the bathroom would be nice, so I looked through some of these little rectangular dishes. This one was pretty but a bit small, and then this one was a better size, but then I found an even better one which had little divided sections, so it would be perfect for sorting out my jewelry and hair clips and stuff like that. Also, shout out to this crystal cauldron. No clue what I would use it for, but I love it so very much. The last thing I picked up before trying on the clothes in my cart was this peachy blouse, but I realized it was too close to my skin tone to look good, so I passed. Then I tried on this little blue cardigan, which was really cute, but the sleeves were a bit too short, and I know that that would have bothered me constantly if I were to get it, so sadly I left it behind. The same goes for this velvet cardigan. Then I tried on this little black skirt, which looks kind of frumpy at this length, but I thought it would be good for a thrift flip, so I can hem it to be the perfect length for me. So I picked this one up, and I am so happy that I found a black miniskirt finally. This pink blouse was fine, but not really doing anything special for me, and this lace one was really, really pretty, but it was super itchy, so I knew I wouldn't actually wear it if I got it. The sleeves on this one were cute, but the boxy fit also wasn't doing it for me, so I left it. Then I went into the shoes and found these, I believe, fake Prada flats, and I found these really cute Ralph Lauren mules, but the other shoe was not in very good condition, unfortunately. Okay, so now we're actually going back in time to the day prior when I went to a bunch of vintage shops like What's Good and Orange Crush Velvet, which has amazing vintage selection and specifically dresses like these ones from the 40s, 50s, and 70s. They are so gorgeous. And I tried on a few things there as well, like this sweater vest and this skirt. Then I went to Uncommon, which was super tiny, but they had some interesting pieces there too. They had some really pretty 90s and early 2000s dresses and even some cute sleepwear. And you really can't beat that view. Okay, so the first thing that I got was at Orange Crush Velvet in New Westminster, and it's this really cute little 70s style crocheted sweater vest, and I really like the scalloped knit detail along the arms and the neckline, and it's a pretty soft knit. It's not scratchy or anything like that, and I think that I will get a lot of wear out of it in the spring and summer, so I'm really looking forward to that. They also had like such an incredible collection of vintage clothes at Orange Crush Velvet, so I highly recommend going there if you want like true vintage pieces. They had everything from like the 40s onward that I found, at least, so you can get clothes that are like 80 years old there, and it's pretty amazing. They have like some really beautiful pieces, and for the quality and the age, the prices aren't actually outrageous, so I highly recommend checking it out if you're local. The next thing that I got is from Refresh Vintage, which is one of my favorite places to shop, and it's just this really cozy oversized crew neck with this little kind of turtleneck mock neck detail that I really love, and it's got a cute spring kind of vibes floral embroidery going on the front with little sunshines and rain droplets and flowers. So I'm also thinking I'll get a lot of wear out of this in the spring, but I'll probably wear it through the summer as well because I'm always cold. And Refresh also has a lot of great vintage pieces, although they're mostly from like the 80s through to the early 2000s. So it's like newer vintage, you know, not like true vintage. But yeah, this one is super cozy, so I've been wearing it every day since I got it. I love it. So this is how the crystal trinket tray looks in my bathroom. It is the perfect size for all of my little bits and bobs, and I love how it looks with my everyday jewelry on it. It's so pretty. I'm really happy with this one. Okay, I'm back. It's the next day. I washed the skirt that I got, and today we are going to do a little bit of a thrift flip. This is the skirt that I got. It's kind of a mini length, but it hits just a little bit above the knee, which is kind of a frumpy length for what I'm looking for. So I'm going to hem a couple of inches off the bottom, and then I might put a slit in the front, or I might not. It kind of depends how I'm feeling, but I could always go back and do that later on if I want to as well. But okay, let's get going. So now that I've got it on, what I'm going to do is kind of tuck it under and then pin where I think a good length is. And then I'll take it off and measure and pin all around the sides to make sure that it's even all the way around. I think this might be a good length to start with, so I'll cut off some of the excess, leaving an inch or two so that I can roll it over and hem it nicely. But I'll cut it off and then we will check back. Okay, so this is not necessarily meant to be a tutorial. I'm just kind of gonna go through and show my process as best as I can. So I've removed the pin, and now I'm going to just pin it back where it was at kind of the length I want it to be. And then I will measure from there up from the hem how much I need to kind of remove around the whole skirt to make it even. Also, because this skirt has a lining, I'm going to have to cut and hem that separately and then have it be a little bit shorter than the outer material so that you can't see the lining too. Okay, this is the kind of scary part where you just have to go for it. So I'm not going to cut all the way up until the pin line. I'm going to leave an inch or two underneath and then work from there. So now that some of the length has been taken off, I can use a measuring tape to measure from the top, the waistline, down to make sure that it's the same all the way around. And that's where I'm going to pin and tuck it under so that I know how long it's going to be. And then once everything is pinned properly, I will try it on again, make sure everything looks correct before I start sewing it. So everything is pinned now in sort of a rough approximation of where I want the actual hem to be. And as you can see, I have somewhere between like 1 and 2 inches of excess fabric around the bottom. So I'm going to work on tucking that under and creating the double hem. I'm also not super worried about precision. If I was, I would be using an iron to iron down the hem, but I find that with a vintage polyester like this, it kind of doesn't need it as long as you're pinning in the right places and you're careful and slow when you're using the machine. So we're gonna wing it and see what happens. I mean, I've done this before and it's turned out totally fine, so I'm fairly confident in a workout. And if not, I'll seam rip it and I'll iron it, but I'm just trying to skip a step or two here, so fingers crossed. Okay, so everything is kind of roughly pinned on the outer layer. I'm going to do the lining after just to make sure that it doesn't fall lower than the outer. So with this, I'm just going to go around and measure again to make sure that all the pins are in the right places, and then I'm going to try it on just to confirm that the length is what I'm looking for. Okay, I'm trying it on right now, and I think the length is looking pretty good. Please ignore the ugly lining that's going to be done next. But yeah, I think it's a good length in the front and in the back. I'm pretty happy with it, so I'm going to go ahead and start sewing. Okay, so now that the seam here is done, I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing to the lining. This doesn't need to be pretty, it's going to be on the inside, but I'm going to try and finish it because this material looks like it will fray. So I do have to be careful with this one. Okay, not pretty, but definitely effective, and I don't care because nobody is going to be seeing the lining. All right, it is looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and try it on. Okay, so this is how it turned out. I'm actually so happy with it. I think it's the perfect length and it fits nicely all the way around the back. It's not too short. I'm not going to be worried about flashing anyone. And I think this is pretty much how I would style it for like fall, winter, and leading into spring, with like a cozy sweater, some tights, some little heels, and maybe a jacket. Pairing it with a leather blazer in this kind of cut, I think makes it lean very 90s. It's like a classic little black mini skirt, so I think that's a good kind of era to pull from. Yeah, I just think it's so cute and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Okay, so that is it for my thrift haul, try on, thrift flip, and come thrift with me. If you enjoyed this, please give a like and subscribe if you're not already. And feel free to leave a comment down below if you want to see more thrift flips in the future, because I am super game to do more of them. All right, thanks for tuning in and I'll see you in the next one.